Roast your coffee gently with those beans. Merrily, merrily, merrily roast. Coffee is more than caffeine.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Merrily Roasting with me, Francis Beck. I'm very merrily to start roasting with my new Aillio Bullet R1 Pro. Although it came with a broken leg, I now did some work to stabilize it so that I'm not taking any risk. First thing we actually need to do is do a roast that we will not be able to enjoy, so that's actually a perfect topic for a merrily roasting episode. We have to start as we will do with the R1 just by preheating, and as you can see you can set this like this. So in their recipe, in the operational manual, they recommend putting it to 230. Now this is just basically the same, so it is rotating. It has a very metally look still, the drum roast, because of course that's why we're doing this exercise. It has not been seasoned at all, so that's why it's important to do this. There's basically just some machine oil still on there, so that's really not for consumption. So that color, I guess, will become a lot more black after extensive usage. As you can see, I'm still just operating it manual. This is, however, have been working with the R1 as well. I have connected it to the computer and I'm following actually the instructions from my Mac here. But for roasting, if you really want to see those profiles, then you can connect to see that live. But you have all the information you need really on there, so that's why that doesn't really have my preference. Without a computer, I feel more involved with the roasting process itself. In fact, I became a coffee roaster because I'm still doing this at the same time. I'm also an informatician, a bioinformatician, biodiversity informatician. So I have many years on the counter of sitting behind a computer, and that's not what I wanted when I started roasting. So that's why, if I can roast without being connected, that's why I like being here in my garage turned roastery, just enjoying nature, looking into nature that's actually going around here. There's a beautiful path where you can have walks into the nature area that's just next to where I live. So brilliant spot, just come by, see my roastery, have a nice walk, have a nice roast. You can combine everything in one go. So the machine now says it's been preheating. Actually it's already at 230, the bean temperature. So I would I guess that's indicating where it's shooting to, so I'm not really sure how much time it will take. So when I bought the R1, never bought the R1, and when I got to use the R1, thanks to Dr. B from Preheating, we had this collaboration ongoing, and I'll continue also roasting for Dr. B whenever he needs my roasting capacity. On the R1, there was a few issues, power issues, error codes. There's videos I've done in the past discussing some of the problems I experienced, and despite that, it's the Aillio R2 Pro was always on my horizon, and it really took a very long time for it to become available. They had to do a lot of testing, and I guess they didn't test the legs extensively, and that was a personal issue, I guess, for me. I've seen other unboxing videos, and you can always see very clearly, fragile, but I don't control people transporting it here. I know how much I paid for it, so I'm extremely careful whenever handling it, but there's so many packages going around, it's impossible for them, I guess, to know always what's inside. So we're already now at 150 degrees bean temperature. So despite everything, this still is the best entry-level machine to start a business. Previously I said that I had a nano roastery, just a very small one. Now I saw that other people having an Aillio Bullet called themselves a nano roastery, so I guess I've only reached nano at this stage, and before I was a pico roastery, when I just had my Genie Cafe or even just my popcorn popper, although I never really sold any beans that I roasted with the popcorn popper. But even the Genie Cafe, you could consider it a pico roastery when the batches are so small, and it takes too much time. You cannot really make money with it. You can just share an interest in it. As you scale up to a nano roastery and you're able to produce 1 kilogram and at least a batch, because I would say everything below a kilogram is a nano roastery, is definitely around up to 500 gram. I mean, we can discuss this. Let me know in the comments where you put a pico roastery, a nano roastery, a micro roastery, and I guess after a micro roastery, you've made it or you sold out. You became too commercial, I guess. So at any rate, we're already at 200 degrees, so I should get ready for the beans. And the funny thing is, I still have some beans from my pico roastery times, these huge Vietnam beans. So several years I've had those, didn't always know what to do with it. I got them to basically do the seasoning of the Genie Cafe, so I got them from Couport. Alright, there we go. Now a Genie Cafe doesn't really need maybe just one seasoning batch, because it's glass, whereas this is this metal and has these okay, now I need to start rushing. It's 617. And then I also have, this is one of my first batches of India Robusta that this one I actually bought at Couport. So they want you to have around 400 to 500 a batch. So should be able to get that. And so you need to do 3 batches in total. So it's really a pity that you're not able to consume this. So I'm going to be as precise as ever. Whenever you order coffee at my shop, I'm at the 0.5 grams specific in getting the beans there. It's just a complete geek as far as working with my scale. So now we are above 232. So is it not giving me a signal? Okay, if it's not giving me a signal and the power is on 1, I'm just going to go for it. This is what I would do in the past anyways as well. So ready to roast, that's what it's saying. And there we go. So the funnel is really only when you're putting the beans inside, and then you should remove it again. And let's have a look at those beans tumbling. The tumbling beans. Roast your coffee gently with those beans. That's how we do it. That's some noise, but the machine itself is stable. So I would say the care I took into stabilizing the machine is sufficient. And our first roast on the Aillio Bullet R1 Pro is ongoing. This is really exciting for me. Of course, I completely forgot what I was talking about previously. Sometimes if there's a little bit of a tap, that's kind of normal. So you have the fly here. Now it will be, okay. But you have to remember what position you have it in. And of course we have the giant beans, Vietnam Robusta beans. So they might not all fall that easily into the fryer. The fryer used to be like a horizontal direction. Now they kind of changed that a little bit. I guess, you know, it wasn't always that easy getting beans in the fryer. This is nice. This is nice. And you don't really need too many beans to see. You know, you can a little bit see how that's going. So as you can also see in my setup, I have here the professional bean cooler, which in theory I could already use because I put, you know, put these under the legs, increase that headspace, but, you know, given the structural issue, I'm not going to risk that, and also it's not really necessary for the seasoning of the machine, of course. It's really when you're regularly doing the 1.2 kilogram batches that you need this, you know, the automatic stirring, letting it cool down, and cooling down in combination with actually having a next batch. I'm still not clueless really how that's going to work. So let's look again at the recipe. So it says with the preheat up to 230, that we did with the POS, but that's always that one. There should be also the Deadman switch, meaning it should be asking for my presence, and if you don't answer within 2 minutes, then the machine is going to automatically shut down. My ventilation solution is also on the way. In previous videos when I'm using the R1, you could see that I'm actually, you know, I had a ventilation tube, but that was from Dr. B's setup. So I've now ordered my own together with an inline ventilation unit, small fan, an inline fan, to cool a little bit the air. Because I did notice when roasting with the R1 that you know, you would start having condensation, dripping, and oil dripping down, which is let's make this a little bit, let's make it a little bit more comfortable for me. So my back will be clean. Okay, now, this is perfect. I can get used to sitting like this, have customers come over, order a 1 kilogram roast, you know, handling this way, and just turn. It's just perfect. So, because of that issue before, now I will have the inline ventilation fan pulling in a little bit and getting it out there. And I'm looking into having maybe this kind of a chimney to put next to just the wall there so that it can just pull it directly out. When you are roasting, as you're roasting, you really need to be considerate of the potential harm to your health, because of course you get, it's the same with cooking in general. People don't realize when you're cooking, you know, if you're cooking on gas, luckily this is a fully electric system, just perfect induction heating. With, you know, cooking with gas, the gas itself is also not that healthy for you, but of course just the cooking itself, you know, having a steak, or even if it's vegetable, even if you're vegetarian, you know, particles, you know, you get these fine particles, of course, because of the process of heating. And if you don't have good ventilation, sucking that away, that's not really ideal for your health. So this is just really for the initial runs here. If it gets too much smoke inside, I will open the door there to improve the ventilation. Should be arriving Wednesday, so I hope I get that solved by Wednesday. By now, the beans are starting to get into, you know, the power is at 6, and actually that was the whole point. Again, total chaos here, as per usual. So start roasting. Yeah, actually first you press the POS, that's what I did. You hear it announcing I am now ready to roast. Yeah, you did hear that, and add 400 to 500 grams of green coffee beans to the drum. That's what we did. Check the drum speed, make sure the drum speed is set to D9. D9. Where do you see that? You see F, you see the T, and how do I go to that? I don't know. For the fastest, so that, I don't want to risk speed by pressing the F2. So I need to press the F2 to access the speed. Let's have a look. Let's have a look where the F2 button is. So, okay, we always expect it somewhere in the beginning, or not. It's somewhere, I know I saw it. Here we go. Here we have the control panel, F1, F2. So, okay, F2, we press it. And we do have D9, so we do have the fastest drum speed as the recipe is recommending. So I would say if you're following this video to do your own initial seasoning roast, first watch the whole video and don't repeat my mistake. Well, this is not a mistake because I would think that the factory settings are to the maximum. So rotation, F2 to access, so that's how you do the F2 here, I guess, and then you go back. I guess, see, okay, that's the trick they did to make you independently be able to set the cooling. That's nice. So now it's of course C0, we're not cooling at all. F1, that was a little bit, a little noise. I'm quite used to working with the R1 that I heard some noise, and that you hope nothing is going to happen. Then you keep roasting, but I would have issues with the drum not being able to rotate anymore. So you need to really maintain the machine nicely so that it keeps smooth. You need to oil this segment here so that it doesn't put any resistance, because then the motor might not be able to keep the drum turning, of course. So that's for that part. Now adjust the fan speed, press F2. Okay, let's increase a little bit the fan. Why do we want to increase it? To change the fan speed, recommended setting would be F3. If you feel that the moisture is building inside the drum, you can set it to higher. So I don't know why they don't say press F2 to access F and then press to change the fan speed. Okay, I guess, so it was on F1, so this is really something you don't need to do. You move it from F1 to F3. Once in process, roast the coffee on power level P7. Okay, so we're increasing that now until we reach the second crack. So we really want to have second crack. It's not often at typical beans IT that we go up to second crack or past second crack. I guess now the oil coming to the surface just helps the seasoning, right? So I feel I'm suffocated here a little bit, so I will open the other door. Alright, now this should give me sufficient ventilation, but as far as I can tell, we have not yet reached second crack. And then it still says roasting process, so roast until you reach second crack, cooling the beans. Press the POS button to go to cooling mode, open the door, and dump the beans. So that's interesting that they actually go to cooling mode before opening the door. Usually when I was working with the R1, I would just, I would do it contemporaneously, just at the same time. Repeat this process at least 2 times to season the drum. So I guess this time including, so that will be 1.2 kilograms of green beans that I'm not able to enjoy. But it's these old Robusta humongous Vietnam beans. That's a pity. I was saving them for a special occasion. but now I guess I will be allowed to smell them. I'm smelling them anyway. Okay, dead man switch. Okay, this is the moment. That was an important one, the dead man switch. It's a lot more flashy than it used to be, but the beep is less annoying. That is nice. So let's try the fryer again. Okay, we're starting to have a nice color here. And let's have, oh, I will have to soften it further. And let's have another look. You can see the smoke is actually coming inside here, so that's not ideal for my health, but I'm taking one for the team here. Okay, there we go. So still haven't heard first crack. We're already roasting 12 minutes, but I do hear first crack now. Let's go back in and listen a little bit. Crack, crack, yes. You can definitely hear that. So I think we just need 2 more minutes to reach second crack, and then the first batch will be finished. The other 2 batches I will just do offline. I guess it would take me an entire hour, and I don't want to sit here together with the smoke for an entire hour either. I am very pleased that I was able to really stabilize it. So never touch the machine as you're working, but the legs should be cool. I'm actually curious whether the legs are not out of metal for maybe some preventing electrical shock issues or something like that. That might be a good reason why they went for this hard plastic leg. The detonate switch is coming up again. And I'm pressing. Press any key. Not any key. Those were not working properly. Now, what I used to do in the past, I always press the POS button. I recommend against that because sometimes you already press when you first wanted to, you were just pressing and it did the detonate switch, and then if I do I need to press it again, and you go out of your roast cycle. So go for the F1 or the F2 when you need to deactivate the dead man switch. Maybe I need to start venting from here as well. Let's hope I'm almost able to stop the roast. Now it is interesting to see because a lot of more smoke is coming out, and that indicates that you are either already slightly in second crack, or at the very least you're approaching it. So this is the moment where I'm just going to open it up. Let's just wait a few more seconds. At 15 seconds, let's really get those oils out so we get a nice seasoning for everything. Actually, you can hear a little bit of that going on. So 15, and there we go. Oh, no, it's here. So it should be cooling. I don't know why it's not cooling. There we go. Okay. They do look very nice. You can actually still hear some cracking going on. Okay, I guess now I can close it again. Cooling beans. Okay, so this has been a very long episode. Very interesting. Very happy that my roaster is working. I welcome you here. Come to my roastery We'll do a batch together. Become a patron. That means you commit to having a monthly roast, and I can either roast that for you, or you can, or roast it yourself. I'm not able to even pronounce it. But so we have those two options. Cheapest is roasting it yourself. That's 21.21 euros, and I think for me roasting it for you, that's around 26 euros for quality coffee. So that's just simply the best deal out there. Thanks for watching this episode of Merrily Roasting with me, Francis Beck. Brew or roast something tasty yourself, and see you next time. Thanks.